What's going on, everybody?
What's
Welcome
up?
back. We got episode 3. We got this one. We're featuring the boys from Politics and Perspective. We got Taylor Wong, Cole Reynolds, of course, my co-host Brandon Bird. I'm
Yes, sir.
Jason Nixon. Welcome to episode 3 of the Go With the Flow podcast, man. We missed last week because we were thinking about the election and we didn't really think that it was the right time to just go talk about basketball or whatever.
Yeah.
During the election. But now this week we got y'all with a little bit of a politics crossover episode type thing.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention that was it's been a hectic last 2 weeks,
Yeah.
just because we'll talk about this a little bit later. But college stuff, it's about that time.
Yep.
We had to submit some applications, so we had to focus on that. And yeah, like Chris said, it was just probably not the right time to keep talking about like music and sports and all that. This week has all been all about the election. So
Exactly. I don't know about you, but I wasn't thinking about it. I was focused on the election and all that. So yeah, here we go. We got a little election themed podcast for you.
Mm-hmm.
So should we start off? What should we start off with? Just like
Well,
the race?
maybe just a little update on what's going on right now in the
yeah.
race. So we're recording this at 9 on Friday morning,
Yep.
the Friday after the election.
Yep, the
And
6th.
yeah, the 6th. And right now it looks, well, tell me if I'm wrong, but it looks like Biden's leading in the very crucial states that he has to win. He's leading in Pennsylvania. He's leading in Nevada as well. He's leading in Georgia. He just got Georgia this morning.
Yes, sir. Pennsylvania this morning too.
Yeah, and Pennsylvania this morning. So it's
Arizona's still up to
right. So it's looking pretty good for Biden. But we might want to talk about how it got to this point and what we were thinking, on Tuesday night and all the nights after that. Cole, what were you thinking, on election night? Were you nervous? Were you confident?
Well, I think we should start with what I was thinking a week before the election.
Hmm?
And obviously, episode 3, we made our In Politics and Perspective weekly on Mondays. I had to give us a shout out. Sorry about that.
No, it's all good. Hey, plug. You're good.
All right, well, it's episode 3. I predicted a Trump win. You guys should go check out that episode. But so I was feeling good about my prediction on Tuesday, but not so good about my future, personally. So I mean, I was definitely nervous as someone who's rooting for a Biden win, and I just saw the flood of Republican ballots coming in on election day, and especially in the Senate, it was a bleak scene for a Democratic watcher.
Mm-hmm. And Taylor, what were your thoughts before the election and on election night?
Yeah, so as Cole mentioned in episode 3, he obviously predicted a Trump win. I disagreed. I predicted Biden would win, albeit probably by a slightly bigger margin than if kind of the current status maintains, then he will win by. But yeah, on election night, I don't know, man. I was nervous. I really thought we were kind of witnessing 2016 all over again, in that the Democrats underestimated who would come out and vote for them, and it would have failed them. But luckily, right after a couple days after the mail-in ballots have started to keep coming in from the Democratic counties, I've started to feel a little better right now. I'm pretty hopeful that Biden will pull through in the end.
It's looking like it. Chris, what were you thinking before and on election night?
So I was a little nervous that whole day. I was going through class, I was paying attention, but my mind was elsewhere. I'll put it like that.
For sure.
So it was a lot of nerves for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course we had expos in the morning, so we were talking about Taylor and I started doing the Twitter. So shout out to the
HRS News, right?
HRS News. If you got Twitter, definitely go over ahead and give us a follow. We were doing some election stuff, and we continue to use that for expos. But anyways, so yeah, I was doing that. I was thinking about how we're gonna cover it, and that was kind of helping me keep my mind off the election itself. We did the little predictions on 270 to win, which I kind of didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, let's just see what, I don't know. I was like, let's see what happens. Let's hope this happens. And so, yeah, I was definitely nervous. And then at first I was like, oh no, we're losing Michigan and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. I was feeling, I don't know. I didn't look great. But then, of course, on Wednesday, all of that kind of shifted, which made me feel a lot better about it. But I'll tell you, I stayed up till 3:30 watching CNN with my mom on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
And we played some Among Us to get our minds off of it. But yeah, it was a lot of nerves.
Yeah. Tuesday night was stressful for sure.
By the way, let me point out. So when Chris and I put our predictions on the Instagram, we got a lot of hate for it. We got a lot of slander.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah, man. Like,
Let's talk about this.
first of all, before you hate, why don't you try making a prediction? It's harder than it looks.
Let's see you guys' prediction.
Yeah, second of all, it wasn't even. I don't know.
Ours are
We weren't even that
pretty
off.
good.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at 270 win right now. I have like what is kind of looking like the most likely scenario is that Biden wins Pennsylvania and Georgia, and then obviously, we got Nevada and Arizona also, which are the ones that are left. Besides North Carolina, I think Trump's gonna win.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at that compared to Taylor's, he only got one state wrong, and that was North Carolina. If you look at that compared to me, I only got one state wrong, and that was Georgia.
Yeah. And those are some of the closest margins.
Exactly. We weren't that bad, man.
We weren't that bad,
That's all
yeah.
I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it seemed pretty accurate to me, but
Yeah.
y'all people didn't really believe in your visions.
Yeah. That's why you kind of revote.
Facts. But before the election, I was talking to some people. I was talking to my brother, who we had on the last episode of the podcast, and he was he was thinking that what happened was going to happen. He was saying that on election night it's probably not going to look good, because all the in-person ballots are going to be counted, and then as the days go on, more mail-in ballots are going to be counted, and Biden's going to pull ahead. So I wasn't putting too much stock into what it looked like on election night, but the last couple of days before election night, I was talking to a lot of people, and they seemed very confident about it. So that made me more confident, and it made me think like, oh, maybe we'll know by 12 midnight on election night who won. And so it was a little nerve-wracking when it looked like Trump would have the lead in a lot of the states that Biden needed to win. But luckily my brother and some other people were right. Like, it just took a couple days for the mail-in ballots to be counted, and it's looking like Biden will pull through. So yeah.
And that is the thing. I remember on election night, there was a few states, like especially the ones up north, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, were like, we're not going to be able to decide this tonight. And I was at that point, I was like, okay, it's not over. But I was looking at some big margin, and I was like, I don't know how many mail-in votes there are. Like, I'm not an expert in this. I don't really know what I'm talking about. But I was looking at the number of mail-in ballots, or the number of mail-in ballots we would need, and I was like, I don't really know about this. But I remember we were playing Among Us, and some of our friends who seemed to be pretty. They seem to know what they're talking about. We're like, nah, there's plenty of mail-in ballots. We're still going to be fine in those states. And, fortunately they were right.
Yeah.
But
I don't understand how the polling people got it so wrong again. Like, I've been trying to figure it out. And one thing that led to my prediction was I thought there'd be anywhere from a 3 to a 6% towards Trump polling error. Just universally, that was my method, and I chose on the more Trump end of that, like 4 to 5 to 6 points of a swing towards Trump, and thankfully it was more like 3 points in the end, but yeah, so that's why I made my Trump prediction. But it was right. Like, the poll, from what we saw from the polls, there was just a heavy miss on Trump voters. The polling industry has some self-evaluation to do after this, and they gotta, if I could see their error, like, how can they not? You know what I mean?
The pollsters were down bad. I mean, like, Nate Silver has gotten so much hate on Twitter. I don't know if y'all know who that is, but he is getting slandered on Twitter right now because he got it so wrong. And I think people put a lot of stock into the polls. But after 2016, I was not going to trust the polls anymore. I was like, nah, I can't do this because the polls can be wrong. Like, the polls predicted that Hillary was going to win, right?
Yeah, by like
okay.
17, one poll
Right.
said. It was like, or 14.
It's
It was
supposed
like,
to be a landslide.
Right, yeah.
it's
So
not even possible.
after that, and I'm not gonna lie, the 2016 NBA Finals, that again, that didn't happen. But if it did, the 538, which is a very trusted source of statistics, was wrong about that. So I was like, and after that I was like, okay, I'm not going to trust the polls anymore, and I didn't. And it looks like that was the way to go, because the polls are not. They're not telling the truth to us at this point. Like it's not a good source of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Biden internal polls were really, really good. I think internally the Biden campaign knew that they didn't really have a shot in Florida, and probably didn't feel like they had a pretty good shot in North Carolina. I don't know if Biden went to North Carolina that much.
I think he stayed up north mostly.
Yeah, so I think Biden realized that they had a better shot up in the blue wall, and that's where they spent most of their time. And it looks like it paid off, and it looks like they're gonna snag Georgia, just for the hell of it, and and hopefully, maybe that's a big statement win in Georgia going forward in the Sun Belt for the Democratic Party.
Georgia's super close right now, but they just had a drop. I think in New York Times said that 3 minutes ago it went up to 1,500, which we were talking about this the other day. That's not really within recount territory.
Yeah.
Because recounts usually only change it by a couple hundred votes. So if it holds at 1,500, he's gonna sue somebody or call for a recount or something. But there's not gonna be a lot he can do.
He already did, right? He already sued a bunch of some people in Michigan, and I think Pennsylvania. I don't know.
He's just throwing lawsuits everywhere.
Yeah,
Which is what he's done throughout his entire business career. Like he got screwed on a business deal, sued him, ran the other guy out of the business. He filed another lawsuit because he made a bad business deal later on. Just ran that dude out of money in the courts, and unfortunately, Donald Trump, I don't think you're gonna run the Democrats out of money with this. Well, we're gonna knock on wood because you don't know which they have, but I don't think that tactic has any shot of working.
And doesn't he have to put like $3 million for each recount or something like that? So
Yeah.
He's gonna be spending money for no reason, man.
You should pay that in taxes. That $3 million is what you really should do.
No, but even like Scott Walker, the Wisconsin governor in Wisconsin, he's like, don't waste your money on this recount.
Scott Walker is the worst of the worst.
He's terrible, and he's still telling Trump not to do it. So that kind of says a lot about his position right now.
Yeah, he lost like 20K.
Yeah.
Georgia recount might come back, but even if it does, like Pennsylvania is just like he can't win.
Yeah, and Biden still wins if he holds Nevada and Arizona. So it's like there's so many paths for Biden to win right now.
Right.
And it's looking so likely. So especially if Biden wins, even if Biden loses Georgia, if he wins the rest of the states, there's barely anything Trump can do because they all have to get overturned.
Yeah, if he wins in Georgia, that's 269, and then Trump literally can't win, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm talking about if he loses in Georgia,
right?
Because that's the closest one right now. So, if Biden takes Pennsylvania, Nevada, and Arizona, it's still he gets. But well, actually, that would mean my prediction was perfect, by the way. But but that would put him at 290, which would mean that all 3 states would have to get overturned in order for Trump to win.
It's not gonna happen. Yeah.
So,
but Trump is definitely riling some people up on Twitter for sure. Like he's
his favorite thing to do.
It's literally his favorite. He's been doing it for 4 years. I'm not surprised at what he's doing right now. We knew this was gonna happen. This is just what he does. And that's another thing we wanted to talk about, Trump's Twitter antics, like throughout these 4 years and right now especially, like he is creating a lot of misinformation and getting a lot of people, like I said, riled up to just not trust the election and just, I don't know, like, just, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just, I can't believe the president of the United States, the best country in the world, is spreading this type of information about the election, and it's a sad thing to see.
Well, I mean, I think we did a deep dive on social media, episode 2, Policies Perspective. But I think it just makes Trump feel powerful, really. At this point, like it feels like he still has a bunch of support out there, and it makes him feel good. And hopefully, he doesn't inspire his supporters to do dumb stuff, like go start riots or a civil war, because I mean he has that cult of personality that is just so hard to break, and people are just brainwashed by his message, his charisma, and it's they would take a bullet for him. So hopefully they don't send bullets at us.
I think they will, and I think it's already started. But what do y'all think?
I think that what you just said about the cult personality is actually what makes him the most dangerous, because, like we're talking about, something happens that goes against him, he can just say, "Oh, it was a lie. It was fake news. It was the media," and people will just believe him just because he said it, right? And that's an issue, because then what's truth anymore, right? If everything that is, even if it is true, that is said, that he can just say no, and then people will believe that, there's no holding him accountable. There's no sense of what is true, right? And so it's really dangerous, because then that's why people keep voting for him, because they are enamored with his charisma. And I think that's the one thing that he's really good at, somehow, is that people love him, like they love him, and so it's made a really dangerous thing because he's weaponizing people, like literally, but also just in terms of he's also tricking them into voting for him when he like over lies even. It's very dangerous. Yeah. And I hope he gets voted.
Well, I mean, he's an entertainer by trade. Like, that's his job. That's how he made kind of his rise to fame. And I don't think there's a doubt. I mean, he's pretty funny. Like, I'm sure everyone here will agree. Like, some of the stuff he says is pretty funny, but it's not presidential, and that's the big difference. Presidents are supposed to be professional. They're the leaders of our country, and I don't want the leader of our country to be a clown, but that's what it's come down to. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's just like shock and awe funny. It's like, I mean, and then it's funny to like a certain amount of people, you know what I mean? And they feel like they can relate to that. And I mean, at the beginning of the Trump presidency, people were saying like he is a poor man's rich man. And which is true, because like the whole for a lot of people, I think Trump embodied like the top of the top type of stuff. Like he had everything in gold, had everything super over the top, and people fell in love with that idea of just having like a golden life. Wow, that voice crack was terrible. But and then when in reality, that's not what our country needs, or what the epitome of class actually looks like.
I think about the poor man's rich man, which makes a lot of sense. That's very true. And I just think that it's sad that that just some random businessman, celebrity, whatever could, it would be one thing if he had some experience in politics and he was acting presidential, like he knew exactly what he was doing, but he just came into the race just like, yeah, I'm here and I'm not gonna act presidential, but I'm still gonna win this. And he got a lot of support off of that, and that's a scary thing. And I think that is leading to people like Kanye West running, who think they can win because they've seen, because they've seen Donald Trump do it, and that's just, and it also starts leading to people, or something that Joe Biden said, I guess a couple months ago now, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, that kind of thing. I think Trump really started that being normalized. We didn't let Joe Biden get away with that because we're not for that, but that type of just totally just how can you say this if you're a presidential candidate type of thing, Trump has normalized that at this point, and he's shown that you can win even if you still say that type of stuff, and it's just sad to see.
And I was just thinking, I still honestly think he didn't even start running originally, planning to win. I think he kind of just did it, I don't know if it's for fun, but kind of just to get attention. And then he was like, yo, I actually have a shot. And then he kept going with it, which I think is wild and dangerous. And then also I want to raise the question. I know we talked about this a little bit on Wednesday, which we should talk about a little more. But do you guys think that this could now be a blueprint for more people trying to become president just by getting people to be, I don't know if it's loyal, it's like a step past loyal, but just a ton of people just be loyal to them no matter what they say?
Well,
From-
I mean, Stalin did it, and Hitler did it, and hopefully Trump is on that path, and hopefully this election will break that before we start going just completely off a cliff as a country, and just starting to submit to a cult of personality.
I mean, do you think there could be another Trump? Do you think Trump could? Well, I mean, Trump might come back in
Yeah.
2024. But do you think that there could be, like Chris said, could this be normalized? Could this be like a thing that people do, or have we just kind of killed that?
Well, I think Trump is the only one that can do the Trump thing. I don't know if anybody else could do it. Like Don Jr. kind of tries, but Trump is the one dude that has patented this. So I think if you remove Trump from the equation, his whole nationalist cult of personality kind of just disappears. That's my hope, at least. Well, we've seen nationalism rise and cults of personality rise all over the country, all over the world in the past. And hopefully America can shed its Donald Trump and his cult of personality. And I don't think that people will be able to, that this nationalist cult of personality that he's created, I don't think anyone else can create that. So if you remove Donald Trump from the equation, I think there's nobody else that can have that same inflammatory message and get away with it like he can.
Like, I agree. I mean, I'd say I agree to an extent, but if I'm gonna play devil's advocate, I feel like Trump's kind of excited a whole new base. It's sort of new to politics to an extent. You see that with like Marjorie Taylor Greene, the QAnon supporter who got elected to Congress. So I think it's out there. I think they need. I don't know. I think Trump has kind of been revolutionary in creating that new group, but I don't know. There's almost like a power vacuum. Like, who's gonna step up and be their next like de facto leader to an extent? And I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who that's gonna be. It's probably not clear right now, but I think it's definitely possible.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm a little more towards Cole's side on this, because I think that, like I said, that's Trump's one unique talent that's gotten him the presidency, is that he is really able to, I guess, galvanize people, or maybe hypnotize, depending on which way you look at it, but he's really able to just get people to believe any and everything he says. And I don't really know, I haven't heard much of Don Jr. at all, which makes me think that he's not the same way, because if he were, I feel like he would be more famous. He would be like getting more media attention if he was just going out and saying blasphemous things and people were believing it, right? I think that, yeah, he would be more in the news. The only thing is, at least Trump's most loyal supporters would probably, if Trump endorsed somebody, they'd probably just vote for them, no questions asked.
Sure.
Which could be an issue. So if you do get someone with like 80% of the charisma that Trump has, it could be dangerous, especially if people really don't like the other candidate. However, now we've seen that we got this was like a record turnout, right, for an election, the biggest in like 100 years, something like that. So maybe people have realized that Trump is a bad thing, and they have decided that they don't want that anymore. So maybe enough people will be against it, and it won't work.
Yeah. I mean, my personal prediction, like, it's probably going to come back to bite me in 4 years. I think in 2024, the Republicans kind of go away from the Trump direction. I think they're going to try to nominate more of like a somewhat more moderate, like pro-business, business-focused, economy-focused kind of candidate.
Like a regular conservative.
Yeah,
not
like kind of what you'd think.
Yeah.
Kind of what you think, like in the George Bush mold. I don't know, not exactly like George Bush, but kind of someone like that who's a Republican, more of a career politician, less kind of radical, nationalistic. But I don't know. Will that be a winning strategy? Who knows? But that's my prediction.
I think Mitch McConnell is done with the whole Trump train. Like Trump has taken the Republican Party out of control, or like out of the control of Mitch McConnell and of Chuck Grassley and all of those Republican establishment, and the same problem that AOC and Bernie Sanders are running into in the Democratic Party. I think Trump and Trump candidates are gonna run into with Mitch McConnell and Chuck Grassley and actually maybe not Lindsey Graham, but the Republican establishment.
All right, man. So we had some technical difficulties and we lost Cole. He's
Once
gone
again.
right now.
Yeah.
Bio grind's too much, man.
Yeah, here's a little bio homework. But man, I'm be straight up. I have no idea where we left off. I think maybe we were talking about the two-party.
We were talking about like the
Yeah,
split, I think.
like,
yeah.
whatever.
Y'all get the point. Bro, it's 10:14 a.m. on Friday, November 6th, and the Go With The Flow podcast desks in the expo. We're officially calling
As a representative of
election.
the politics and perspective,
Yes,
I will
sir.
get behind this.
Expos is officially calling the election for Joe Biden.
X-Files, wait, go with the flow. We can't speak for them.
Yeah, we can, bro. He's politics. He's our opinions, right?
Fair enough,
That's his
bro.
job,
Okay,
right?
that's
You know
fair.
what?
That's fair.
I don't think Trump can come back. I think
Yeah,
Joe
bro,
Biden
we
has
got
secured
opinions, bro.
this
True.
victory.
We definitely don't have the authority to do that, but
It's fine. It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
And-
we're fine. We're seniors, bro. We do what we want. Anyway,
Facts.
so we're officially calling the election for Joe Biden because
Woo!
he's gonna win Pennsylvania most likely. Right now, New York Times has said. Where does it say this? It said Biden's lead increased by 2,644 votes. 22 minutes ago. We are just look, man. It's a beautiful thing. That's not, I'm gonna just put it like that. It's a beautiful
Love to
thing.
see it.
He's currently up, by I think 12,300 votes. I don't know if I can find it, but I think he's currently up by 12,300 votes in Pennsylvania.
It's
a wrap.
beautiful. It's love
over.
to see that. Oh
It-
my gosh.
It is over, ladies and
Oh
gentlemen.
my God. It's over.
I do love to see it,
It's
man.
a lot more stressful, I'm sure Eddie was playing for, but win's a win.
Yeah, a win is a win.
Hey, Biden was coming back. Bro. I saw so many edits of the DK Metcalf clip of him.
Yeah,
you
yes,
said
sir.
that, I remember.
Yes, sir.
Oh man. Oh man, it was a beautiful thing to see, man. Thankfully, my guy Marcus Bird was right, you know.
Mhm.
Thankfully, if Cole Reynolds was wrong,
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
Cole.
Yeah,
Shout out to
yeah,
Cole
thankfully. But wait, so it's Georgia? Just it was
Pennsylvania.
It's Pennsylvania. Okay.
Pennsylvania's looking very
They haven't called anything yet, but
well. Yeah, this isn't just the thing. It's the only source currently that's called it for Biden. But as of right now, I'm calling it for Biden. And since I'm simply built different, I'm allowed to do this.
Facts. Chris is
no,
built
dude,
different.
now I got focused on this Senate, bro, because say Biden does win, you need that Senate majority to get his agenda done, and it might come down to these two races in Georgia, which are going to be in the January runoff. So that is going to be absolutely crucial in
Facts.
January.
Big facts.
In,
I highly doubt we have any listeners in Georgia. But
we can get involved
Sorry.
for we can get. I mean, you can like phone bank. I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll do something if you're kind of bringing in the cash. You can make a donation to their campaign. You know.
We'll figure it out.
if you got friends and family in Georgia, make sure they go.
Yeah,
out,
make
head
sure
out to
they-
that runoff. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Make it work. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Senate majority is going to be pretty much vital if Biden wants to get
Yeah.
anything done. I mean, I didn't know anything about politics because I was also a child, but when Obama,
Yeah.
when he was in office, there was a whole lot of just, no, we're not going to let you do that just because we don't want to, you know, from
Yeah.
the Republican Senate, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, man. That's the only reason Obamacare got passed is because they had such a big majority.
Yeah,
To
so,
an extent, because a lot of people opposed it. But
yeah, that's still important, but as of right now, it's been a wonderful week, man.
Yeah, we just have to
It's been a
celebrate.
wonderful week.
I know this is not exactly what we want. You know, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, not exactly ideal, but we gotta celebrate this dub.
Yeah.
This is a W. This is a step in the right direction.
exactly.
It's not where we want to be, but it's a step in the right
small
direction.
victories. right?
Hopefully this means that people can keep their rights, you know. I mean, I know for us at least, reproductive rights, very important, you know,
Yeah,
abortion, and then also
not like for us,
well,
but
no,
like
but
to
like,
us.
those are important things
To
you know,
us.
we hope
To
that
people with our
can
belief,
keep
I guess
that.
to our beliefs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also not to us, but gay marriage as well. you
Yeah.
know.
Even things like wearing a mask. I don't know. Hopefully
Yeah.
more people will do
Oh,
this.
yeah, bro. Yeah, bro. I want a senior year. I don't know about y'all. I want the
Yeah.
senior year. Can
The
we-
summer after
Oh
senior.
my god,
yeah.
yeah.
We need
Hopefully we can get. Hopefully
If
he can
Biden
leave that.
puts a mask mandate on, which most places are kind of requiring masks, at least in public. But if Biden puts a mask mandate out there, hopefully that'll slow the spread. We can get ourselves a little vaccine action going. You know, I need a baseball season for sure. Got to.
Yeah.
And then prom would be dope. I don't want to. Okay, I was thinking about this, bro. What if we're the one grade in the last 150 years, whatever, that didn't get a prom, and we're gonna be 40 years old, and people are gonna be talking about, oh yeah, this is my prom. It was all that fun. There was crazy stuff happened, and we're gonna be sitting there like, wow, I didn't get a prom because Donald Trump didn't want to make people wear masks, and he bro,
And lied
that
about
is gonna
it,
be
yeah.
So, oh my god, man.
Even if we do get a prom, it's gonna be like a social. It's probably gonna be a social distance prom.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
gonna be all weird.
But
I don't know how
would
it's gonna work.
so much rather have that than no
Yeah.
prom at all. I
Yeah.
just
True.
like, but the thing is, if we have a vaccine, we can do it, right? It might be social distance, but we can still do something.
Yeah, that's true.
Things if there's no
Hopefully
vaccine,
the curve will slowed enough so that we can operate semi-normally.
Facts.
This is kind of off topic, but like, Do y'all think a vaccine is gonna be ready by then? Do you think?
Man.
Like a one that we can all take?
All right, here's what's up. I talked to Miss Sherman. Shout out Miss Sherman.
Shout out Miss Sherman,
She
for
was
sure.
my bio teacher last year. She said it was going to take around 12 to 18 months, which meant somewhere between January 2021 and June 2021. Now, obviously, in order for us to get a prom, it would have to be on the early side of that because vaccine comes out doesn't mean next week everyone's vaccinated.
Yeah,
it means like they're going to take a few weeks probably to get the elderly people,
Yeah.
you know, the people that are high risk, and then it's going to move down basically in age, I think, to middle age, to young people, to children.
Mhm.
Well, children, but yeah.
I remember I saw because I was curious too, that once it comes out, there's like a tiered system or whatever for having it. It's like healthcare, elderly, I think like people in prisons, teachers, and then I think kids are actually before like middle age.
Oh, they are. Oh,
Like, yeah.
you're probably, yes. You're
So,
Actually go back to
because
school.
school, I guess for school. So,
Right.
Yeah.
so I guess we'll get it
Yes.
sooner than like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get that
I don't know if we're considered kids or not, but
I think they're going to I mean, we're in school.
I think they're gonna have it. I think it's gonna be
I
probably
don't know how
near the turn of the year because
Also,
it's gonna have to.
in my mind at least, Joe Biden, as soon as he hops in there, is going to be like, yo, get us a vaccine ASAP.
He better.
I mean, Trump's right.
Well, hopefully they'll actually test it instead of just what Trump's doing.
Yeah.
Taking unproven stuff.
Yeah. Telling us to inject bleach into
Yeah.
our systems.
Oh my
Like,
God.
bro, this was our president for 4 years. That was our president. Telling us to.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Not anymore.
Dude, think
Like,
about how like we're seen by people in other countries. They're just
Bro,
like, how do
oh
you
my
how do you
God.
elect this
Oh,
clown,
dude.
man?
I was gonna say, and even in the future, looking back on this time in the history books, we're gonna be clowned.
Yeah.
Like,
No, we are not going to be clowned.
The country as a whole are gonna be clowned.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not gonna lie, I was going on TikTok yesterday. They were talking about there's kids in Canada that are doing projects on our election right now.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what are those idiots doing down there? Like, that's what they're talking about in their history classes right now.
Yeah.
And and the people are gonna look back on Donald Trump in history books. He's gonna be all over him, and they'd be like, yo, that man was wild. And like,
Literally.
he's gonna be people that they teach you not to, they teach you not to be like that. They're gonna show all the things he did to create the spread of the coronavirus. Despite what your boy George said on the podcast, Trump definitely did not.
Yeah,
do
he
that.
definitely did not do a
Very
good
well.
job.
So they're gonna talk about that in the history books, and then they're going to hopefully talk about Joe coming in and fixing it.
Oh, we hope so.
Hopefully,
We'll
yeah.
see.
He
But-
still has to write that part. It's up to him.
Yeah.
Big facts.
But one thing about Joe Biden that is definitely better than Trump. Hopefully he will listen to the people. You know what I mean? Like that. I think that's really the hope, that we can pressure him to actually make some changes for the better. So
Like believe in science.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Trust Fauci.
Yeah.
Yeah. The leading expert on the subject in the entire world.
And not fire him,
Yeah.
which he'll probably get fired in these last 3 months of Trump's presidency.
He's
So
gonna lose his job for a couple of months, man.
yeah, they can rehire him.
Hey,
But
all I care is that Trump loses his job, man. A lot of people lost their jobs since he returned.
it's like that Drake meme. It's been a long fight. It has been a long fight, but we're here. We are here.
Our whole high school career is in
Literally.
Bro,
Bro.
oh my.
I will never forget the night that Trump got elected,
Yeah.
and the day after when we had to go to school.
No.
And Mr. Baker, big shout out to Mr. Baker, my 8th grade humanities teacher. He was destroyed. He was destroyed inside. And as like that day, he put up a counter that had it was counting down the days that Trump until today, or Tuesday, this election. He was counting down the days on the whiteboard of when were we gonna be able to get this man out of office? Because he knew. He knew we were going to be down bad. He did a whole presentation that day on why Trump is going to destroy this country.
Yup. Hey, man.
And it happened.
That's an insight. Shout out to Mr. Baker, man. He was my umpire once in Little League. He got mad at me because I spiked my helmet after we lost. Yeah. I remember because I went to Miss Tang's class the day after, and honestly, I don't remember what it was saying. I just remember there was a lot of tears and a lot of blank state, just people just sitting there what is happening right now? We were down bad. Down terrible.
Down terrible.
down terrible. Yeah, we were down bad that day. But hey, man, started from the bottom, now we here.
Anyway,
Yeah,
I cannot do. In 4 years, Trump would do some irreversible stuff. I guarantee you, it'd be so bad. We avoided something. We thought the first 4 years were bad.
I mean,
next 4 years.
And let's not blow past the irreversible damage this man
He's
did to
already
the
done.
country. In these last 6 months, so many people have died because of this man. So it's not like it's these 4 years have not like been without their extreme problems, obviously. So yeah, like we're just hoping that these next 4 years are a lot better.
Yeah.
So.
And talking about how these 4 years, like, I guess actually, well, I don't know if this makes any sense, but talking about like how, like what happens in 2024, I guess, there's going to be obviously a lot more younger, well, our generation, I guess,
like we
going to
can
be able to vote fully.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yeah, Gen Z is going to be fully involved in the politics. And I just want to know, what are your guys' thoughts on how, like, I don't know how to, like, do you have hope for Gen Z, I guess? Do you have hope for us being better than our parents and their generation?
It's tough because like there's like I think that we are a generation that really wants change and we're pushing for it super hard on all that, like everything that we have access to we're using to push this change and this message of what we want to see in America. And I think that we will, once we are at a stage in our lives where we can be in power politically, I think that there will be we will produce a lot of leaders that can lead this country to, what it should be. But there's also, a lot of clownery that our generation produces on social media, and like we turn anything into a joke. Like that's just what we do, and I love that about us. And I don't think it's gonna stop us from doing great things politically. But I don't know. That's a factor. It's kind of
Well, two things. I guess the first is that like I feel like everyone always assumes that our generation is so liberal, and that's true. But there's a lot of conservatives out there who are our age. Like the guy I interviewed one, but like for a while there, I was on a conservative TikTok. It was not a good time. I don't know how I got on it, but I just kept seeing these like teenagers with their like Trump propaganda.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of some of them conservatives are probably closeted, but I think there's a lot of conservatives out there. So I don't think it's such as liberal leaning as people say it is, I guess.
I do agree with you, but I brought that up partly because, and I wanted to actually talk about this on Wednesday, but I'm looking at the exit polls from the this election right now, and it's 65-32 for the 18 to 29 demographic towards Biden. Or sorry, 62-35. 62-35 towards Biden. So it's very liberal, and I think that it'll continue to trend like that. Obviously, Trump is, like we said, he's not a conservative. He's on a different category, but that's pretty liberal leaning to vote 62 for Biden. And obviously, he won the popular vote by a good margin, but 62 is very significant compared to the other margins of voters by age group. So I think that indicates at least that our generation does have a little bit more liberal values than the last. And I think also just like wherever, like education is one of the most telling factors that indicates which color you vote for. Because it is, bro. If you look at the map, it is. So I don't know if that's what that correlates to. I don't know if it's. We also are in a bubble, so we really don't know.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
But right now, I mean, I'm just looking at this election.
No, I do think you're right. Like take Georgia for example. If you look at the map of Georgia, a lot of the rural areas, which is like the very far north, very far south, is all red, but all Metro Atlanta is all blue, and it's beginning to turn blue. And I think that's due to an influx of college-educated voters moving there, like both people who live in the metro area and people who move into the suburbs.
Yes, sir. And the college graduate like polled it's 55-42 for college graduates in favor of Biden, 49-49 for non-graduates.
I think what Taylor said is definitely a good point, and I agree because I do think, like Chris said, we're in a bubble. We are in the very liberal California, and especially Oakland, California. Bay Area, yeah.
The liberal.
Exactly. And I do think that there are people who probably just don't want to say like how they really feel, because
to a degree it's fair.
Which is
It's
absolutely fair.
valid because
Absolutely
I feel
fair.
like I wouldn't do this. Maybe I would do this personally, but like they'd get canceled.
Yeah.
They would. Yeah, and I think that this is another thing that we don't have much time left, but another thing I want to touch on at least is that there's a difference, I think, in my mind at least, between Trump supporters and then conservatives, right? And so I think that a lot of what I see on TikTok is like, you should be able to be friends with someone who has different views than you, which I 100% agree with. But then when you when it goes to being a full Trump supporter, and you're okay because he was endorsed by the KKK. He's definitely racist, definitely sexist, definitely
Ableist,
bigoted, yeah.
Ton of just terrible things that he said and done, right? And so, I think that's one thing that it's like saying you're a Trump supporter might get you canceled, and I'm not gonna be mad at someone for not doing it because like you're telling me that you don't believe in some people's just human rights, like
right.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of reasonable in my eyes. So.
Right, and that's something I had to learn over these 4 years. Like I think I was one of those people early on where I was like, yeah, if you support Trump, like that's your personal belief. I can't blame you for that. But now, as I see it, like what you said, like just what all the things that this man stands for, like if you support Trump and everything, I don't know if anyone, I won't say that, but it doesn't seem like a lot of people support everything he says. But if you are okay with what he says and will still support him after that, I can't mess with you. I'm sorry. Like
exactly.
I can't do that. You can be Republican, absolutely, 1,000%, and we can have a conversation, an open conversation about that, because that's one of the things that I want to have, and I kind of wish Head-Royce is more open to having these open dialogues, which is something we talk about on Wednesday.
Yeah, we just see especially.
Yeah, but Trump is a whole other story, and we talked about that when Cole was here. Like Republican, Trump, different things. You know what I mean? So
I totally agree, and I feel like after like the initial Trump election went, that was kind of when I started getting interested in politics, and I kind of started researching. I'm like, okay, I guess I think Trump's super problematic, but I can understand why people would want to vote for him after he made all these promises, like bring back jobs to the Midwest and things like that. So I guess to an extent, I kind of could understand. I didn't agree with him, but I could understand why people voted for him in 2016. But this time, like, no, you don't get a pass. I'm sorry. Look at what he's done in the last 4 years. You know, look at the things he said. That should be enough.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't. Yeah, it's hard to justify voting for me. I feel like.
What he's done in the past 6 months is what should be enough. Honestly, like he's done so much. Like literally, we're in a pandemic right now still. Like,
Blood on his hands, just
right.
Yeah.
I started hearing about this in like January. It's
he knew about
November. He knew about it in January, at least like February maybe. But like, and we're in November now. We're at the beginning of November. That's unbelievable. And not only that, just like the fear mongering, like all this. What did the shutter go off? I don't know. Hopefully not.
Just keep going. We can just finish up.
I think it did, but
okay. So I keep talking.
We'll just keep the rest on the picture if we need.
Okay.
But,
but yeah, like it's what he's done this year alone is I can't like. It's too much to be like, oh yeah, it's fine if you support this guy. Like, nah, I can't mess with that at this point.
Agreed. But real quick, I mean, I kind of want to circle back. It's kind of related to what we talked about earlier about Trump's Twitter. Chris knows where I'm going with this. One thing that's emerged from Trump Twitter is Trump slander on Twitter, and that is something that is something I can get behind. I don't know if any of our viewers out there know a certain man named Jeff Tiedrick on Twitter, but I put Chris on just to give a Spark Notes summary of who he is. Actually, I don't even know who he is. He's like this 6-year-old white dude who doesn't look like he's had a haircut in the last 10 years. And he somehow manages to, every time Trump tweets, he manages to respond to that tweet with something in like 2 minutes, bro. He is ridiculously, every tweet, he just comments on his tweets like with expletive-filled just rants about how bad Trump is. Yeah. Yeah.
Something like not the responses, but his own tweets. What type of asshole president? Good follow, unless you're
good follow. Yeah.
Good follow.
He's very funny.
Trump slander. I think that's got to be the name of the podcast.
It might have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of wish that we knew that Biden was like gonna win, just so we could celebrate a little bit more and then lay on the Trump slander a little bit.
Yeah.
More.
We're celebrating all day, baby.
Yeah. The celebration will not be ending.
Podcast, but like, oh yeah, I'm going crazy.
Yeah, man. I'm just so glad that we're not on a podcast where we're supposed to like be fair and political and politically correct and all that because these are our opinions. Yeah, we're letting it fly.
Yeah, I'm letting it fly here. Maybe I'm a little.
It's tolerated. It's encouraged on this
podcast. Yes, sir. No, absolutely. And I suppose as a whole, we you might not agree. But I don't know. We try to be,
I think we do.
bipartisan a
Yeah.
little
I think we lean. I think our lean's kind of similar to that of the
Yeah.
school in general.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Which
But
is extremely liberal. But
yeah. But on this podcast, Trump slander's allowed. Let's do it. Let's go.
hey, that's our First Amendment right, freedom of speech.
Facts. Oh yeah, I don't even think camera's on, but facts. Anyways, Trump slander is a right.
Yes, sir. Trump slandered all
Yeah.
the time. I was
Like-
gonna say 2020, but like all the time. Like all the time.
2021, 2020, like.
Yes, sir.
I better see Jeff being active even after Trump departs out. If he departs
Well,
office,
well,
maybe he'll
okay.
try to stay.
This might have to be the last thing because Matt started 5 minutes ago. Don't worry about that. But
Oops. Sorry, Mr.
okay, what are we gonna talk about in politics once Trump is gone? Oh,
It's
that
not.
is low.
Wait, is it still recording now?
Just yeah. We can keep.
Okay.
It's not. That was a good last 5 minutes.
Well,
Yeah.
Yours is still recording. I don't know if it's gonna pick this up, but we're gonna be bored. Like politics is gonna be boring without Trump. That's the only thing that we're gonna miss.
Okay. One last question. Is Trump still gonna be tweeting over these next 4 years? do you
I think he will be.
I think he will be.
Well, we're about to see the most tweets I think ever from him in these next like couple of weeks, right? Trying to like change the outcome of this election, and he'll probably because aren't we talking about him coming back in 2024
Yeah.
and making another run at it? So
If he's still alive by then.
whoa,
Or in jail. That's what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
true.
Trump-
That's
they,
true.
They might jail
Rich
that
people
man.
don't go to jail, bro. Apparently,
Dude,
'cause
one of my
he should've
mom's
been in
friends floated a conspiracy that I think it was more funny than she's not a conspiracy theorist. I met her. She's very nice. But she said that Trump, I don't know how she heard this. It might have been some like article, but Trump's gonna resign, appoint Mike Pence, so Mike Pence can pardon him and his family before they leave office.
Okay. Oh, man. I mean,
Trump would. I would put it past him.
to be honest, bro, he should have been in jail.
Yeah, he should be in
Probably
jail
should be
right now.
impeached, bro.
We didn't
Be
even talk
impeached.
about. We didn't even talk about how many times he should have been in jail. Bro doesn't even pay his taxes, bro. Like, how are you about to be an American, bro? What do you think America was built on? We threw tea in the water because they didn't want us to pay taxes without our representation. Now you're the president
And you're not paying taxes.
and you're
like,
still
bro.
not paying tax. Like, bro, you represent everyone,
Facts.
dog.
This is literally what you're running on. Like, dog.
Pay your taxes.
You
man.
talk about American values and you don't even pay your
Pay
taxes.
your
Like,
taxes.
come on,
Bro,
dog.
that's so much money that we could have in the government that you just don't want us to have, bro.
Like you can believe in not paying taxes, but it's the law. I think you should still follow it.
Bro, you have to follow the law.
Yeah.
Aren't
You're
you
literally
Mr.
the
Law and
president.
Order president,
That's
bro?
it. Yeah, let's talk about law and order.
Oh my god.
Oh, man.
Bro
but-
says law and order is not even following the law,
Yeah,
bro.
Bro,
He
no
has way more cases than these looters and
Yeah,
rioters, these
bro.
thugs, bro. What do you mean?
That's
You are
facts.
the one who breaks the law. Damn, bro.
No cap. But yeah, I guess we should end it there because the camera literally died and all of our mics died as well.
One
This was
microphone.
extremely ghetto at the end.
We might have to cut this off for now.
No. We're keeping it. I
No,
love
this
this.
is the
No.
raw-
This is what
the
we need.
raw content
Yeah, this
that
is like-
Expos' listeners are yearning for.
That's true. Like
Maybe.
this is like what we talk when like we hang out like outside. This is
Yeah.
kind of the conversation we have.
Facts.
Yeah, except for expletives are involved.
Yeah.
usually.
Okay. Well, we're keeping it PG. I
We
guess.
have to, bro. We're not trying to. I don't
We're
even think. Can
respectable.
we publish? I don't think we can publish cuss words on that.
No, we cannot.
That's just more work
this,
for Ethan to bleep out.
this is a family podcast. Family
This is a
podcast.
Yeah.
Listen
Family
to
friendly.
this. Hey, and speaking of that, make sure to tell your family and your friends about the Go with the Flow podcast, and of course,
And the politics in
in
perspective.
perspective. They just
Yes,
had this
sir.
nice big two-parter with Trump supporter, which we mentioned a few times, man.
Yes, sir.
It was very interesting. I've listened to half of section one. I haven't finished it yet, but it's a good podcast, man. It'll get you arguing. I was arguing in my head. I'm not gonna lie to you. So
Also, Head-Royce is active on social media now. We've got HRS News on Twitter, run by Chris and I.
Yes, sir.
We also have, I think,
We have an Instagram. Let me
Is it
pull up the name real
it's
quick.
HRS Hawks.
HRS Hawkseye. Follow that on Instagram.
Most definitely.
Hawkseye. My Twitter is TaylorWrong24.
Hey.
Yours is.
Chris A10 underscore. You know.
Oh, we're doing Instagram.
Although
shout-outs.
actually,
We're doing
I don't
Instagram.
even know if I want y'all to follow.
Oh, that's
on
Twitter, okay.
like that because I'd be wilding sometimes.
I'm wilding too.
So-
But if you want some like unfiltered stuff, also
Unfiltered.
follow Jeff Tiedrick. As I mentioned, it's Jeff Tiedrick is his account.
the boy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Donald Trump. I don't know if you want to give.
Actually, Donald Trump is an entertaining fellow.
Yeah, so shout out to the Politics in Perspective boys for coming on the
Yes,
podcast.
hey,
Shout out to
thank you
Taylor
boys
and
for
I
having
Cole.
me.
Cole left like an hour ago, and
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna miss the entire math class unless I go on my.
Shout out to Brandon and Chris for having me on. Really appreciate it, boys.
We'll have them on
I love
again,
the work you're doing.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sure the viewers do too.
This is our best podcast.
Oh, this is a goated podcast for sure.
Hilarious, bro.
All right, thanks for tuning in. All right,
Yes,
we'll
sir.
see you
Come
next
back
week, hopefully.
as well.
Yes, sir.
I love.